Nashville, Tennessee,
Is it
right
a bar
off Broadway.
or a restaurant?
Well, it's 3 separate floors,
yeah.
3 separate themes.
Oh, yeah.
It's
So
really cool.
what's great, if you've never been to Nashville, you got to go. When you go into these venues, there's a band playing on the bottom floor, one in the middle, and one on the top.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
Right, and on the basement level is basically Michael Jackson stuff, which is I prefer. I prefer to dance.
You don't like the
I'm not
country?
happy unless I'm dancing.
Okay.
So, no, but that's the bottom floor. I like the middle floor. It's more...
You're describing our studio kind of.
A little bit,
We're
yeah.
kind of like that, except we not only have 3 floors, we also have an outside porch. And today, Geraldo Rivera is in the porch. However, it is in Los Angeles. Geraldo, good morning to you.
Hey, Geraldo.
Hi.
It's
Read
great
your
to
book.
have you.
It's
Quite
so
a party.
good.
The Florida-Georgia line in Nashville, Tennessee, though. I'm not sure.
No, it's FGL House. It's just right off Broadway. It's just a reason to make the turn.
That's all. Hey, Geraldo,
I got you.
you're out in California, and that's what we're talking about today regarding illegal immigration. The president earlier this week made it very clear he wanted to stop that caravan of the migrants who were fleeing oppression and violence and poverty from Central America. It sounds like, for the most part, that has happened. But now he's made it very clear, because Congress would not give him the money for the wall, he's going to put between 2,000 and 4,000 National Guardsmen on our southern border. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that it is like a sugar high. You know, it feels good to say, I'm going to fix this problem. I'm going to send in the National Guard. I'm going to send in the Marines. You know, the old cliche. First of all, you guys missed a little earthquake yesterday. We had a 5.3.
Yeah.
Did you feel it?
Little shaker. I was having a Bloody Mary at the Bel Air Hotel.
You didn't feel anything.
Did it end up on your lap?
This is the.
It didn't shake that much.
No, it wasn't even that. It was such a little tremor. For a 5.3, you would have expected more. I was here for the Northridge earthquake in '91. That was a real shaker. But what the president did, I wish, as a supporter of the president, I wish he had stuck with his remarks about the tax cut and about the economy, because I really do believe that that's the secret to the midterm elections in November, to emphasize that the president's economic policies have put Americans back to work in West Virginia and everywhere else. But instead he went, and I think it had a lot to do with the caravan, Steve, that you were describing, and in the spike in illegal immigration in the month of March. We are at 46-year lows, historic lows when it comes to undocumented immigrants crossing the southern border.
Right.
I think that it was the unfortunate combination of the caravan story, and it has broken up that caravan, and this monthly spike that now caused this renewed. And also his frustration over the fact that he did not get funding for the border wall.
He did talk about tax reform. He had that lady, the couple, and they got very emotional, and she said the tax reform has really helped my family. The bonus has really helped us. She started crying and just wanted to thank him in person. And in fact, he got there. He had a script for this tax roundtable, and he said, you know what, I'm reading through this. It's so boring. He literally threw the paper in the air and said, I want to talk off the cuff. Listen to what he said.
You know, this was going to be my remarks. It would have taken about 2 minutes, but that would have been a little boring. We have the worst laws. You have the catch and release, which we're terminating very quickly. We're doing it in pieces. We're working out systems now, and we called out the National Guard, and you know, we're doing a real job. But I'll tell you what, the laws of this country have to be strengthened and toughened up. So we have to change our laws. And the Democrats, what they're doing is just, it's insanity. We have to have strong borders. We're going to have the wall. We're going to have our wall, and we're going to get it very strongly. The military is going to be building some of it. And we have to change our laws, and we're working on doing that.
You know, Geraldo, I totally agree with you in that he has this great narrative that George Bush would be almost like Rain Man, repeating the same thing over and over again until everyone wrote it. We would have left that meeting thinking about how West Virginia's been revitalized thanks to the economy. And a real woman talked about what my husband's, as a postal worker, how their life's been bettered. Instead, we talk about voter fraud, that people vote 5 times in California. We've talked about that caravan where he says all these rapes are happening then. I know Trump's being Trump, and I get that, but Trump hurt Trump yesterday.
I agree, Brian, and to Ainsley's point, when you have that narrative, when you have that emotional, every woman, every American woman making that statement thanking the president, a statement of gratitude, a statement of relief. And here we are, you know, this rising tide lifting all boats. That's the positive message. Instead, this voter fraud thing, and, you know, we had a commission. Chris Kobach, the Kansas Secretary of State, you know, headed this commission, and it was formulated with all this bluster. They didn't find any meaningful voter fraud, certainly not on any kind of scale. So that's a manufactured crisis. Then you have the caravan, which conjured up images of this brown tide washing over the southern border, and you know, all these people abusing our immigration laws. We've got problems on the southern border, but as I said, 46-year lows, Ainsley.
But Geraldo, what do you say to Nancy Pelosi, who's calling it crumbs? You hear that lady crying, and then you hear Nancy Pelosi saying if the Democrats win in November, then they're going to do away with this tax reform. That's hurting American people. That's hurting that lady in particular. Her husband won't get his bonus next year. He's a mail carrier.
But the president swamped that message with his other remarks.
Well, you might not have liked the fact that he talked about other things, and maybe he missed being able to walk out of that opportunity and just focus on that one woman in tax reform. But a lot of people do want to hear him explain all of these different issues.
Well, I don't fault the president for ad-libbing, although in this case I think that Brian is correct, that it did distract from the main message. But going back to the southern border, you had President Bush, I remember so clearly, back in 2006. He sent the largest contingent of the military to the southern border. Then you have President Obama beginning in 2010 and lasting really until 2016 with the use of the National Guard. You had Rick Perry. Rick Perry in 2014, he did it. Sending the military, what did they do there? I mean, I've been with the military. God bless them.
It's a good message to send. We found out, Geraldo, it does send a message to the coyotes and everybody else. And when they come across, look out, America's serious about this. But I believe, even though it's a 46-year low, if that number is correct, 300,000 a year is unacceptable. And that's what the president's point is. But can we switch over to the Russian investigation? And now more details are coming out about why.
If you let me say one sentence, Brian, I have to say one sentence. The president wants the wall. The wall has become this almost mythical feature of the president's agenda. He was elected president. He should get his damn wall. He should get the wall. What I am asking is, at the same time, Democrats concede that he deserves to get the wall he was elected to build, that President Trump and the Republicans get together and they find a path to legitimacy for the Dreamers. Dreamers, wall, one deal, one compromise. Both sides don't get everything they want, but both sides get something critical.
The big problem, Geraldo, is with the president's own party. The Republicans in Congress, a lot of them don't want the wall. And if you don't have any Democrats and you got a bunch of Republicans who don't want it, even though, you know, they opened up the Brinks truck with the omnibus 10 days or so ago, so much money is being spent, and yet they're denying the president, what you said, the wall that he wants.
You know, here's one thing he could do, and the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristen, her name, very articulate. I think maybe his most effective cabinet member said, you know, we have a lot of military bases on the border. Instead of spending the money to send the troops there in what I think is an empty gesture, use that money and build the wall on the U.S. Army base between the Defense Department appropriation and the Homeland Security money. Build the wall. At least you start. At least he can, and you can demonstrate that in this sample it works. You know, I think that on Andrew McCabe, I don't want to give that short shrift. I think that if Andrew McCabe was allowed to retire and collected his pension, he never would have had a GoFundMe page. He would never have been the sympathetic character that he has become, at least on the left.
Yeah,
you know,
that's all temporary,
this guy did purportedly, allegedly, supposedly did a bad thing in lying about, you know, what he told the Wall Street Journal vis-a-vis his wife Jill's run for the Virginia State Senate. It's just by depriving him his pension in in a mean-spirited way. You gave him some props that he
how
didn't
nice were they to
deserve.
Michael Flynn? How are they? I mean, that mean-spirited way. This guy, he's
double
accused of
standard.
lying at least 3 major times and might have altered the result of an election.
Under oath, too, allegedly.
Yeah, and either he's lying or James Comey's lying because they both they're contradicting each other.
Geraldo, you're a lawyer. You know you
agree-
can't
I
do
agree
that.
with that.
Come
Right.
on. All right.
Do you think he'll be
Geraldo-
charged? Will he be charged? Yes or no?
McCabe,
If he lied under
I
oath,
don't know.
will he be charged?
I hate to guess. I tell you one thing: there's not going to be any major figure indicted in the Russia collusion illusion. I know that there's no collusion. You know, so that's that aspect of it. Comey's book's going to come out. It's going to make a big splash. Whatever discrepancies exist between James Comey and Andrew McCabe, who became acting director, will, I think, embarrass the people who are the enemies of the president.
Right.
And be smart. Pick up Geraldo Rivera's memoir.
so
It's
good,
fantastic.
Geraldo.
Great
That's
job,
right, the
Proud of
Geraldo.
you.
Geraldo Show. That's
The
right. Thank you.
Geraldo Show.
11 minutes now after the hour. I cannot wait for Jillian's memoir. Geraldo would buy it.
I'm sure he would. Good
would.
morning to you guys. Good
morning.
Good morning to you at home. Let's get you caught up on some of the other headlines that we're following. We now know the name of the Thunderbird pilot killed in a training flight. Major Stephen Del Bagno's F-16 fighter jet crashing outside Las Vegas on Wednesday. It was his first season with the Thunderbirds. And the 4 Marines killed in a helicopter crash in California this week also identified. You can see their photos on your screen. Captain Samuel Schultz was a 3rd-generation pilot. First Lieutenant Samuel Phillips, a pilot, joined the Corps in 2013. Gunnery Sergeant Derek Holly